I'm Barry Sonnenfeld. I'm a film director. I used to be a cinematographer. Unfortunately, I'm not what you would call a film buff. And now let me turn my phone to silent. Although if someone called me, you get to hear Werner Herzog because I recorded Werner Herzog as my ringtone. Okay, let's continue. My favorite movie ever made, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Now, here's the interesting thing about Strangelove. You never want your actors to know they're working on a comedy. In fact, you never want anyone to know you're making a comedy. If the wardrobe person knows you're making a comedy, the wardrobe will be too loud. If the composer knows you're making a comedy, there'll be slide whistles. No one, especially the actor, should ever know you're working on a comedy. And the genius of Kubrick in this movie is that no one, except occasionally for George C. Scott, who almost ruins a movie, no one knows they're making a comedy. Anyway, my single favorite movie ever made. Now, weirdly, if I'm not mistaken, almost like the same week practically, Failsafe came out. Henry Fonda was brilliant in it. I assume it. Am I right? Was it Henry Fonda? Was it Henry Fonda? I'm doing great. I love this movie. It makes me so depressed. So 2 movies, same plot. I was the cinematographer on Miller's Crossing. Trey Wilson, who was Nathan Arizona in Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing was written for him in the lead. Joel, Ethan, and I were driving out to Lake Pontchartrain with my wife, Sweetie, to look at a location. I was driving with Sweetie. Joel and Ethan were in front of me. I was the only one who owned a cell phone because the Coens just don't like to spend money on wasteful things like cell phones. So I got a call from our casting director who said Trey just had a massive brain hemorrhage and was not going to make it. And the next day he died. And Joel and Ethan, with 2 weeks before shooting, had to find a replacement. They found Albert Finney. Albert came in with less than 2 weeks and knew every single line of dialogue. And here's a personal story. Sweetie and I, my wife, Sweetie, and I got married at the wrap party for Miller's Crossing. After we were married, with me weeping uncontrollably, Albert got the microphone. We were all given glasses of champagne. Albert made a toast that had a lot of metaphors about driftwood and floating down the river, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, let's all raise a glass to Sweetie and Barry. The entire Mississippi River lit up in fireworks. Albert paid for a barge of fireworks. It cost him $7,000. Over the next 20 years, I would occasionally run into Albert at some restaurant, and Albert would say, are you still married to Sweetie? And I go, yes, Albert. And he said, you better be. Those fucking fireworks cost me a fortune. So Miller's Crossing, perhaps the best lit movie I've ever shot. And if you look at it carefully, you'll see that I never motivated the light. You'll see a lamp right here, but the main light will be coming from this side because that side made Gabe Byrne look better in spite of the fact that it was not motivated. So you don't have to motivate light to make something look beautiful. If you haven't watched the Criterion Collection Blu-ray of Blood Simple's added additional discussion between Joel, Ethan, and I asked Criterion, and they found us a telestrator. So I literally can circle things as we're talking. And what's great about watching the supplemental director-approved DVD special edition is Joel and Ethan spend the entire time making fun of me, and I spend the entire time making fun of them. As soon as it came out, I got an email from Bill Hader telling me how much he loved the supplemental commentary. So if you ever get bored with Blood Simple and think, I can't watch it one more time, the camera operating sucks, watch it just for Joel, Ethan, and I making fun of each other. Thin Blue Line, Errol Morris. I shot part of one of his documentaries. And what was interesting about his technique is he sets up the camera. Now he uses a special device with a two-way mirror and all that, but then he just sat really near the camera. He used to be a detective. I'd roll camera and Errol Morris would say nothing. He'd sit there, and the person being interviewed be waiting for a question. Errol wouldn't ask one, and eventually, without fail, the interviewee would say, okay, I guess you want to know if I killed my wife, or whatever it was. But it was a brilliant technique. He just sits on it, never interrupts, and just lets that silence live. And also, the other thing I love about this movie is I love Philip Glass. I love his music. I love the tension of when will he ever fucking resolve this chord. So here's an example. I think he does resolve a chord within Thin Blue Line. So check it out just for the tension of his soundtrack. I now have an amazing bag of movies that I want to see again and some that I want to learn about. I love the Criterion Collection. So thrilled to be back here with them. They're just a great company.